4 developers, 48 hours and 3 judges. Each had to make a game with the theme A Devil's Price. This is round 1 of 3, so if my game is the worst, I'm out. And I've only ever made one game in 48 hours before and that failed, so this is going to be hard. My first idea was to make a game where you would be chased down by the devil in a horror environment, and when you picked up items you get a random debuff, which hopefully was going to fit the price part of the theme. So I worked on the game for about an hour and realised that the game was a complete overscope, so I scrapped the idea and came up with something new. This time I went with the idea of a puzzle platformer game where every time you move, one of your health is lost. I think this idea fits the theme pretty nicely. Though I only have 40 hours left and I haven't even started making the game. The first thing to think about when making any platformer game is obviously the movement. So I added basic left and right movement, a jump, and most importantly I added the ability to wall climb. I also drew up a quick little devil character and animated him with some squash and stretch. In addition, I did this hell-like tile set. Since this is a puzzle game, it's essential that I know just a little bit of puzzle design. What I learned is this formula to make a good puzzle game. First, you introduce a new mechanic, next you expand on the mechanic, and then finally you challenge. But the game is looking a bit, well, bland, so I jumped into aseprite and brought it to life more. And done. Here's what the game looks like now. The goal is to get from door A to door B without running out of lives / using too many moves. So using the puzzle design formula, I started to create some levels. Here is the first level where we introduce the mechanic of losing a life when you move. Here is the second level where we take the tutorial away and expand on the mechanic. And here is the third level where we challenge the mechanic even more. But what we also do on level 3 is introduce a new mechanic. This is the gem. It's a simple mechanic where you have to collect all the gems in the level to unlock the door. Though it is a basic mechanic, it's great because I can use more of the level and that leads to more interesting level design. And as we know, level design is the most important part of any puzzle game. Though at this point I have to admit I kind of broke the puzzle game rule, and in the level after I introduced a new mechanic yet again. This is the block, and it's an interesting mechanic because it's kind of a dual purpose one. As we know, the main mechanic of the game is every time I move I lose a life. Well, the block behaves so every time I move the block will move, and here's what it looks like. As you can see, the block moves when we do, but wait, there is still another essential part to this block. When the green light is lit, it means that it won't move when we do until it reaches its destination. So yeah, it's quite a complex mechanic. The block combined with the gem mechanic lets me create some monstrosities like this level. So let's review the block mechanic as a whole. First, we introduce the block mechanic in this simple level, then we expand on it, showing that the block can move vertically as well as horizontal. Then we challenge the player. And can you guess what we do on the next level? Of course, we introduce a new mechanic. Here is the heart, and it behaves very similar to the gem, though instead of unlocking the door, it sets our health to full. It's a simple mechanic in itself, but when combined with others, it leads to pretty interesting levels. With all the main mechanics, the game can end up looking pretty crazy at the end. And that's pretty much it for the level design. At this point, I have around 20 hours left, so I decided to add some juice and polish to the game. So first of all, I added a tutorial, and then this dust effect when you wall climb or jump. I also made the screen have a red tint when you're on 1 health. I finally implemented some basic sound effects too. At this point the main game was pretty much done, now I just had to work on menus and intros. So on that note, I put together this intro which has a bit of story to the game. It's basically just a bunch of badly drawn images with text at the bottom, but it gets the job done. I then moved on to making this main menu and the logo for the game. You might have noticed that in the bottom it recommends that you play on keyboard. This is because the way the damaging works is based off keyboard input and the movement uses built-in Unity access, so if you played the game on the controller you would be able to move without taking damage. But then, I received a message from Mystery saying that I had just 7 hours left. But that's fine, the game is almost done. I just had to add this level select screen and some scene transitions, and I ended up finishing early. So now I'm gonna take a look at what everyone else made. Let's see what the judges think of my game.
Some of the puzzles were done super well. When you have a 1 heart, you can't move. This feels really awkward when playing the game. The core idea was incredible. I really like it. It's just a few things on the execution that weren't great. The moving boxes aren't explained well enough. All being said, I enjoyed the game, and I hope you make it to round 2 so it can be expanded upon. Bye guys.
And now for the results. Did I make it to the next round? Yes, I did. I even ended up coming first place. Unlucky Ben Bonk, but this means that me, Dev Banana and Matt Dev will be competing for the crown in round 2.